Right, well, Relish Lifestyle out and about today. We're at Cowdray, and we're here for the Cheese Festival, aren't we?
We are, and there's it's busy, isn't it?
Very busy.
And the sun's come out.
Sun's come out, so we're all outside. It's quite a good crowd, but we've got some wonderful artisan cheeses being supported by Neil's Yard, and we've sampled a few, some blues, some gooeys.
Yeah, and we had that wonderful Spenwood.
Spenwood, which we've liked, we've talked about before.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're going to go and have a look. We're going to go into the farm shop. We've picked up some cheeses that we want. There's a lot going on here. There's sort of like wine tasting. There's some live music, which I'm sure you can hear. So we're going to have a little mooch, aren't we?
Yeah, and there's that guy baking or stirring pasta into huge melting
like a
parmesan.
Drum of a parmesan.
A massive truckle.
Yeah. So we're going to have a look around. So we'll keep you posted on our findings. Welcome to the Relish Lifestyle podcast. We have had quite a lot of food in between the last time we spoke, but we've had an odd mix of weather, but we're keeping it fresh and vibrant indoors with our chat, hopefully.
Yeah.
And we went to the cheese festival.
Yeah, that was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, up at Cowdray.
It was fun. It was their first one. And anyway, that's why we thought, you could get a little bit of us being there.
Yeah.
Anyway, on the back of that, we did buy those cheeses and we did taste a few.
Yeah, we did.
Some
we've had before, obviously.
The Spenwood, which I mentioned in the little piece, which is absolutely lovely. It's like a softer parmesan. So you can grate it, but it is really lovely just to nibble on or grill.
And obviously, talking about parmesan, we noticed the man that was putting the hot pasta in the parmesan.
He had an enormous queue, didn't he, of people? Yeah. Everyone's liking that. So cooked pasta, but then just swirling it around in this huge truckle, if you like, a wheel of parmesan, and it was melting. Yeah, exactly.
It did look delicious, and he had a queue. So
yeah. Anyway, no, but it was great. You could hear it was busy, and it was really well attended, wasn't it? And it's quite tight there, but it's very. I think actually Cowdray, Charlie, has been voted one of the best farm shops to visit.
I'm not surprised. Yeah. The produce looked really good,
and I love the fact they've got that courtyard and the little shops off it.
And it's got the beautiful fountain.
Yes, it has.
Which we should describe. It's like a leafy sculpture. It's like a bush, but it's obviously metal. And the water comes from the top, but it dribbles all the way over all the different leaves. It's very pretty.
Very Chelsea.
Very Chelsea. Not quite the same as the backward fountain I saw in Barcelona, the Nero exhibition. It uses liquid mercury, and so it goes backwards.
Oh, wow.
It's a bit weird. It's upside down. It's like a topsy-turvy fountain. I think I remembered that right. I hadn't had too much wine at the time. But anyway.
You didn't fall into the fountain.
Yeah. But it was nice to try those cheeses again, actually, and remind ourselves how much artisan cheese there is in this country, actually.
Yeah, and I hope they go on to do more. This was in collaboration with Neil's Yard, who particularly support artisanal cheesemakers or producers. And we met a lovely lady called Hazel. And she was there with various cheeses, but particularly we bought her Pevensey Blue cheese, which is absolutely delicious. So, and you also had a Risley, didn't you?
Yeah, which I love. It was delicious. Had it at the weekend, tried some, and it was really, really nice. So, yeah, it's like a soft cheese, which I quite liked.
And that's a big shout out to Village Made Cheese. They make a variety of cheeses that we've had, including the Spenwood, which we've had. So that was...
But it was a good atmosphere. They had live music.
Yeah.
Families and stuff with that. So it was really good, actually.
Yeah.
And, the farm shop itself is very good. They've also got the butcher there. They've got the deli counter, so you could actually buy even more cheeses. Obviously, not just the cheeses that are sort of being showcased outside.
That's true, yeah.
And they have obviously then other bits and bobs. So they have, all the other accoutrements, and it's all quite well split out into sort of, which I quite like. They sort of had like a South American section. They had their Oriental section. It was quite well kind of curated, the shop.
And also, I love it. They have a section for flowers by a company called Verdley Flowers. And they do wonderful, not only bouquets, arrangements of really different, like what I call cottage garden flowers, but also they do those wonderful pots.
Yes.
Those little terracotta pots with the pussy willow and the little bulbs and various things. They're absolutely beautiful and gorgeous, and I mean, a real treat to yourself, or a little gift or something, but absolutely lovely. So there was lots going on. So I really hope they all did well on it, and I hope they do more of that, because it's, we've done our cheese tasting. We did one last August, and we only tasted 6 cheeses, and I got all of those through Neal's Yard Dairy. And I think we should do another one, actually.
Yeah.
But
talking of cheese, the theme sort of remained, because we had a cheesecake at Easter.
Oh yes, our Easter
cheesecake.
Our Easter
Our
delight.
slimming pudding.
Our Easter delight.
Which is nice. Obviously, that's another way of kind of. I know it's obviously a very different cheese. It's a soft cheese.
Yes. But Charlie, you were very on trend.
Oh.
Well, because it's a big thing, and it's called Swosty.
Oh, okay.
Right, and it's between.
Fill us in.
I know. Between sweet and toasty.
Oh, okay.
So it's this whole thing where people are caramelizing, or adding flame to, or toasting, or charring, and
to add flavour.
And I think it's to intensify. And apparently, get this, you really are on trend, because
first time for everything.
I know. Apparently, the searches for burnt Basque cheesecake have doubled in the last 5 years.
Wow.
Which is extraordinary.
I do, some of that I would say is down to, obviously, Instagram, social media and stuff like that. But I think it is depending on where people are travelling. And places like, people are going on like foodie holidays more than just, I want to go in the neighbourhood pool or whatever. And so they're actually starting to see these products. Like, if you go to Barcelona, Madrid, if you go to Portugal, they've got the burnt cheesecakes, and obviously everyone has their own. I'm not going to pretend to know all the differences between whose Basque cheesecake is best or what they use.
They're all going to be similar.
I'll be honest. It's I'm very proud to say I followed Nigella in the whole for the recipe, but actually I added a bit of vanilla into mine, just because I like. As I used to call it, vanilla. Vanilla.
It's like butterfly.
So I had a bit of vanilla into mine, and I think obviously I have never made one before, and so for me it was more like, well, actually, if I haven't made it before, I should, because I'm seeing them in shops and they look delicious. And actually, I have to be honest, I thought the process was relatively straightforward.
Yeah.
I mean, the main thing that Nigella obviously does say is which is standard really for her, but full fat of everything. Don't try and use fat,
it would be horrible. Yeah, no.
And everything has to be room temperature, otherwise you don't get the smoothness.
Yeah,
which is quite interesting.
It was delicious, but it was an hour in the oven, wasn't it? And then I know you were a bit concerned it wasn't looking burnt, but when you took it out after it's out, it was. Actually, I think you did it a few minutes over.
Yeah.
But it was burnt, and then you have to leave it. Was it 3 hours?
Yeah, 3 hours, because you have it at room temperature,
and then you just need it to let it really sit and set, and it does sink, doesn't it?
And you do it in the baking parchment or greaseproof, whatever you want to use. So you do get sort of like a sort of raggedy. It's not like a perfectly straight edge, or like you would on a sponge. It is that slightly raggedy, rough looking. But a slice of that with some fruit. We had poached pears, which was delicious.
Yeah.
But I guess you could have anything, because it is quite rich. So you could have something like rhubarb.
Yeah, that would have been good.
The sourness would cut through.
Yeah.
I think Nigella does licorice, which I have to be honest, I'm not a fan of licorice.
No.
It's the sort of thing I used to eat. The Bertic acids. I used to eat round.
The coloured bit. Not the black bit.
I think that is definitely a Marmite. You either love it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's like aniseed.
But it was burnt, so that comes back to what we were talking about. This swosty.
Yeah, swosty. Yeah. So I mean, and I think it's a lot going on. So I was just reading this huge trend. So things like torch meringue.
Oh, right.
And people taking hot irons and then like burning the top of a pastry.
Well, we saw it, didn't we? At Borough Market, Bread Ahead Bakery in Borough Market.
Yes.
Doing the creme brulee donuts.
Yes.
Which we didn't have. We did watch them doing them.
Oh, that's right.
So they've obviously filled the donut with creme brulee filling.
Yeah. And
then they char the top with a hot, flat, round poker, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah, that's it. And people are saying that this is a big thing, and of course it adds this it kind of elevates it. That's what they're saying. Kind of gives it a grown-up taste. But I think we're seeing this across the board. Like it's like toasted nuts. So we know with like prawling, you know, it's nuts and sugar and it goes all crispy. But I think we're getting beyond that. Like we're getting like salted caramel spreads and things like that. As you know,
I feel like this trend of the charring was like the salted caramel was what we had 10 years ago. So that, as in, it started to come through and everything suddenly was salted caramel this, salted caramel that. Now I feel like maybe it's this roasting that's going to be the next, or already is becoming the new salted caramel, maybe.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, if you think about it, you know, even your pasta al natas, they've got that, you know, a custard has that sort of burnt brown look as a sugar. And like we said, they're calling it like the creme brulee effect, really.
Even like a rice pudding.
Which is one of yours, isn't it?
But you need that skin, which is slightly charred.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't want to overchar it.
No.
I think there's a limit we should say of charring. Yeah, it's great, but things can be there.
Yeah, there's charring and there's burnt.
And then there's acrid.
Burnt.
Yeah.
I mean, when we talk about...
And we've all done it, where you've been like sweating off some onions and you want them to be a bit charred. And then they go too far.
That's acidic.
Or garlic.
Yeah, horrible.
And you go, oh no, it's acrid now. It's not nice.
I mean, this is very much, you know, like sweet things.
Yeah.
Because you're burning the sugar and the sugar becomes crispy.
Yeah.
It caramelizes. So it either becomes crispy or it does become like toasty. It's a bit like French toast, isn't it? And all that. It's like that charring.
But what I would say with the charring is obviously some things like sweet potato and like squashes and things do have quite a lot of sugars in them. And so they char quite nicely.
Yeah.
If you want to roast them first before using them, you know, we've done those sort of things where you sort of do slices of the squash and it sort of chars and you get that slightly sweet bitterness, which I quite like.
Yeah.
Which I guess is what this is it's like sweet and sour was.
Yeah.
So now it's, I don't know, sweet bitter or sweet toast. As you
I think it's intensifying it and just adding, and I think it's what you and I, like we talked about this recently, didn't we? You know, people's tastes are changing, I think. Yeah. And it is trendy when we all look for something else, but you know, I do think it's maybe does elevate it. I'm not sure. It goes on to say that people are sort of charring cupcakes and bagels. Not sure about that, but
surely charring a bagel is just over toasting.
I don't know. But how does that go? I was thinking about the roasting bit, like roasting coffee beans. I mean, does one say if you roast them more, they get more intense flavour?
Well, you can over roast as well, though.
Right.
You can get and this is a problem. Well, not a problem, but it can happen. You can over roast the coffee bean, and then it becomes just not very pleasant.
Well, it becomes bitter.
Well, more bitter.
Yeah, more bitter.
Which is why certain countries, and I might be wrong, is French coffee, which I think, I might be wrong, is they normally use Robusta beans or Robusto beans, and they have a more bitter coffee, which is like Cafe Noir can be really quite.
Oh right, okay,
that's quite bitter, but that's kind of how the French prefer their coffees. Whereas Greek, I would say, is a more mellow coffee. It's not as like acrid.
Yeah, and also if you think about Turkish or Greek coffee, they also like adding a lot of sugar to it.
Sugar, and it's thick.
Yeah. Not very thirst quenching.
But yeah, so it can be overdone. But it's interesting. But I think it also, I think, in other ways adds texture as well.
No, it does. Because I think if you've torched or whatever you've done, like grilled or, you know, or burnt even, something sugary, it on the whole it will go crispier. You know, and even like if we talk about rice pudding, won't necessarily go crispy, but you get that texture because you get like a skin. That's the bit that will go
a bit off.
Yeah, do you know what? I always used to love that. But you got into your rice puddings.
I can't stop making them. But I don't always. It's funny. I don't always then have it that day. Sometimes I've been having them for breakfast, which is not very swimming, but a couple. Well, I say I don't have loads, but it's a bit like a porridge.
I was going to say actually,
and actually a couple of tablespoons of that and I have it with fruit.
Yeah.
Some dried fruit or whatever. Or even just like a bit of like, I don't know, you can add a bit of honey on there or whatever. It's quite a nice breakfast.
Yeah.
And it's filling. And it's rice, so that's not bad for you. And it's only milk and a bit of butter.
Yeah.
Well. But it's quite nice.
Yeah.
I don't heat it up again, but, you know, it's quite nice cold.
Yeah, well, I think rice pudding, I think all those sort of things, people would have eaten them probably as originally as some sort of breakfast. But why not?
Oh, yeah.
It's just rice, isn't it? Pudding.
Well.
And I was just thinking, you saying about slimming, but I was thinking if you have anything with milk in it or something.
Or you have a custard tart.
Yeah, in Portugal, you have your little tart.
It's not. I mean, the only thing I think...
Croissant.
I have to be honest, actually, go just quickly on the cheesecake side of things and the burnt. I have to say I'm not a cheesecake fan as what I would call the sort of American cheesecake. I don't really enjoy them.
No.
Or I should say I've never had one I've enjoyed, is what I should say.
No.
I might still have one that I enjoy. I don't think they're that exciting.
Well, you don't like lemon meringue pies, do you?
No. It's that kind of soggy on top of biscuit. I don't really get. Talking of texture, I don't enjoy it.
Oh my God. I can't remember the last time I had a lemon meringue pie, but it is something when it's made beautifully, and it's got to be the biscuit on the bottom. Yeah. It's got to be homemade lemon curd, and some meringue. A little bit of meringue, but I think it has to go in the oven. I think it's a cheats thing using the old blowtorch, which I watch them do. It's not the same. It doesn't. It's funny, going back to that caramelisation, Charlie, and the toasting. I don't think a bit of blowtorching or meringue gives it anywhere near the depth of the crunch or the caramelisation you want. Yeah, you pop that in the oven on a very high oven for its 5 or 10 minutes. It'll go much browner, and you really do get that. It just brings out that a bit like your Basque cheesecake. It just brings out a bit more.
I think that's
intensity to the meringue, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's the level of flavours that you start to get.
Yeah.
If, you could make the cheesecake that I did at Easter and not burn it, and it would just be like a kind of
pudding.
Cheese.
Yeah, wobbly.
Whereas when you get the burntness,
it
just elevates all of the flavours.
You're right, and also it frames it, doesn't it, in a way? Yeah.
It forms a crust, I guess.
Anyway, I think we should...
I would like to do more.
We have to look out for it more. Try a few more things.
Start charring everything we see.
I'm not sure how much of it. I did see an article or an ad for you can now get golden blonde spread, which is basically.
I don't like those golden. They're very sweet.
Yeah, it is. It's caramel with roasted nuts, particularly hazelnuts. So rather than the chocolate and the hazelnuts,
I have to.
Like Nutella.
Going back to that burnt thing, I did have. So there's a tea rooms, I guess you'd call them, in Lille, and they're called Meert, which is Meert, and they sell little French toffees, which I prefer because they're not like sometimes British toffee can be like slightly gooey, or we call it toffee and it's not. It's like runny, and it's almost like a caramel, not a toffee. These are like proper like hard toffee, which I really like. But they did a burnt like toffee version, because they're different flavours, the toffee one and whatever one. And I particularly like that because it cuts through the sweetness again. The burns adds that, I don't know, debit credit of the sweetness, really. But
yum. Oh, we'll have to look out for more of this, all this trending, all these different flavours.
Obviously, we have touched on the vegetables, but we do that sometimes. We sort of char a bit of cabbage and stuff like that. Which
I know. So actually, I thought we had good old humble cabbage, and there's a few things that crossed my mind because this isn't necessarily. They take a while to come through. They're not normally. I think they're normally harvested much later in the year. But of course, everything's harvested all the time now. But anyway, I thought good old humble cabbage, because you can basically take some cabbages and you can stuff the leaves. Kimchi is pretty much sauerkraut. Sorry, couldn't speak then. Stir fry it. You can roast it. We know you can boil it. That's not difficult. Just don't overboil it. No. And did you know, this is doing my thing, there's about 15 types of cabbage. And they come under the species of brassicas, okay, which also include kale. And obviously you've got things like curly kale and Corvello Nero. Kohlrabi.
Oh, yeah.
Which you think about that because it's quite a big root, isn't it? And then anyway, cauliflower. Broccoli, which we love, and Brussels sprouts, which we love. Anyway, I just thought, and also things like this sort of good old Savoy cabbage, because I'd like to know how many we could name actually cabbages. But the Savoy cabbages, and I didn't know this, but it actually comes from the Savoy region of France.
That was it.
Hence it's called Savoy.
Duh. Yeah.
Why didn't I didn't even think about that.
No.
Don't know why.
Savoy.
It's just we don't always think about the etymology of things.
Do they call it Savoy? They call it Savoy.
No, because I think it is Y.
Oh, it is Y.
I don't think it's O-I.
If we went, we can have a Savoy cabbage.
Anyway, when I looked it up, anyway. Anyway, no. Well, I don't know if we know the French. They'll export them. They don't actually eat a lot of green, do they? And then you've got the good old pointed cabbage, which is also known as the sweetheart and hispy cabbage, which you can get in supermarkets.
Yeah.
Then you've got the Chinese leaf, which I didn't know was also called the Napa cabbage, and that's what you normally get in your kimchi. Or you can use the leaves to wrap.
Yeah.
So you can use that for the other bigger cabbages as well.
Yeah.
And then you've got your green cabbage. There's one called the Dutch white, which is the big round white one you see.
Quite solid.
When I say white, it's whitey green.
Quite dense.
Yeah, and that you can chop and stir fry and again use the leaves to stuff. And then you've got things like the January king cabbage, which we would have seen. Hence, it's more in the winter. But it's those huge, big green cabbages you get where the inner bit, the top of it, is purple.
Oh, yeah.
And when you see pictures of it, you go, oh, God, yeah. Anyway, beautiful cabbages. That's called the January king cabbage. And then, of course, you've got the Asian.
Yeah.
Your bok choy, choy salmon, pak choys.
Yeah.
Which are really... they're great because you get a bit of crispness through the stems, but it's stir fries quick. Anyway, I just thought it was really interesting. Now they also think, and I have to really give it a shout out, the good old cabbage, because they are so nutritious.
Yeah, superfoods.
I mean, I'm not being funny. Vitamins B6, C, K. It's got full of folate, low in calories. It's good for our gut. It's high in fibre. Anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, particularly the red cabbage, of course, because of its colouring.
Anything red is quite good for you.
Lowers blood pressure, good for digestion, lowers cholesterol. I mean, it goes on. And the great thing is, Charlie, of course, even in this climate, it's not an expensive.
No, that's true.
Vegetable, and it goes a long way, doesn't it?
Also, if you're avoiding like flexitarian, if you're avoiding meat, it's quite a good.
Yeah.
Main part of your meal.
Yeah.
You could do it in different ways.
Anyway, it made me think about some recipes.
Yeah.
Well, you think about, like, we could stir fry it and then you can stuff it. I haven't actually done I think I've done it once or twice, where you take a cabbage leaf and you just sort of, you do have to just plunge it into boiling water, just soften it slightly, and then you make some sort of stuffing and roll it, which is rather nice. And you can then bake it.
That's quite good if you're avoiding carbs.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you can just have it as a side.
I do like cabbage nero.
Yeah.
I find it. Again, it's that for me. It's because it's got
irony.
A slight. Yeah.
Like a
it
Brussels.
Cuts through other parts of like a roast or whatever.
Greasy, yeah. There you are, the richness.
But I do like the versatility of like sweetheart and hispy, what people do with them.
I know, of course, I'm going to share this.
Flavours you can add.
So this is going to be my shout out. So I've got a shout out to, as usual, Ottolenghi. And this is one I've done a lot, and I do sort of tweak it slightly, as we always do. It's a great one. He's got roast cabbage with tarragon and pecorino.
Love tarragon.
And it is in his simple book. And it is absolutely lovely. You've got garlic and lemon, and you basically baste that, cook it in the oven, and then you put the pecorino. I've done that quite a lot. Yeah. It is really delicious, and it doesn't take that long either. So I would say to people, just do look that one up. It goes with so many things, doesn't it? So that is a firm favourite. Look at this page, Charlie. This one.
Well done.
This one's got a load of splodges on it as well. And this is Hemsley and Hemsley. So Melissa Hemsley, and it's the red cabbage, bacon and apple salad. And I've done that quite a few times. But you cook that. So you cook. Now you can swap out the bacon and use mushrooms.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And also you can make a slaw. So this one is stir fried basically, but not for very long. And you add, and it's got your like mustard in it and your cider vinegar and all that kind of stuff, and a bit of runny honey.
Red cabbage, though, again, the colour and everything was there.
Oh,
that is a superfood in one.
And that's and red cabbage and apple. And I've seen a lot of coleslaws and I've done them myself. Keep them simple. You know, a red cabbage, and you don't need to use the whole thing.
Shred it.
And some crispy apple, maybe some spring onion or something.
Yeah, nice.
And then a very light dressing, and that makes a great. And of course,
sesame oil would be nice.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that you can give them that Asian, flavouring, enhance them. Cabbage is quite like that. I've quite often stir fried them with some soy sauce or sesame oil.
Like we said before, some things do need quite a lot of flavour. I'm not suggesting you pour loads of stuff on some cavallinier or whatever, but some of the others, like the sweetheart, hispy, and obviously the red cabbage and green, can take quite a lot of flavour.
Yeah, and if you think about the other ones, the Asian ones anyway, you whack them into Asia. And add chilli and all sorts of cumin. I think you can do, as well you stir fry, and I've done this before, I think, cabbage, and that would be a green cabbage or a Savoy cabbage shredded, and caraway seeds.
Yeah, nice.
And really nice. A bit of garlic, or I think you mentioned earlier about cabbage and bacon or Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, well, like we do at Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, some people do.
And there's loads of
cabbage and bacon.
And there's loads more recipes now at the moment out there for, getting people to eat Brussels sprouts, shredding them. For me, they wouldn't be so great. I wouldn't look forward to that so much in a coleslaw.
No.
I do.
But you could shred a Brussels sprout and put it in a coleslaw. There's nothing to stop you.
No, there isn't.
It's the same flavour.
And it's like, I think I've tried, there was this whole thing with kale, wasn't it? When you took kale and you were supposed to sort of massage it so that you could make it into a salad, and you could make like a kale. No, because I never think it really works, because I don't think that vegetable is for that.
Yeah, or you'd have to kind of not parboil it, but you'd have to almost just
I have to be so careful.
Take the edge off, because otherwise that would be quite a hard munch.
So for me, I think some things just don't work, and I think if you're going to use kale like that, you have to really shred it finely.
Yeah, that's what I think you'd have to.
Yeah. I was just going to go, that recipe I've just said about the cabbage, the ottolenghi recipe. Actually, you can add cauliflower, and you can do it with cauliflower. You can add cauliflower to it, because that works quite well. They just all roast quite well, don't they?
Yeah. But again, things for me, like when we do the kale in the oven, you just put the kale on a baking sheet, and then you
it goes crispy.
That's crispy, but it is sort of jarring.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And actually, broccoli, I think things like tender stem on like a barbecue, it's really nice, because you get the charring.
Yeah.
And it brings out the sweetness, I think, in things like broccoli, charring it.
Anyway, you've got another trip coming up quite soon.
I have. So I'm off to Portugal, funnily enough, but doing some different parts this time.
Yeah.
In Porto.
Look out to see what they're swosting.
Swosting.
I've made up another word now.
But it's interesting in Portugal, because you've got that, you have quite a big Brazilian influence because of the language. So there's a lot of Brazilian sort of influence in terms of restaurants and shops and things. So I'm going to try and go. And then there's a big fish market I want to go to, which I haven't been to before, up in sort of the northern part of Porto, obviously on the port. But it's got an amazing fish market, and some restaurants that are actually in the market. So I'd quite like to go and experience the fresh fish.
Oh, yeah.
So... but yeah, it will be interesting to see what they're up to. But the one thing I was going to say about the kind of brassica side of things is obviously for us it's like cabbage. But things like in Greece they have like horta, they call it, which is just like, I guess we'd call it spring greens, but it's just greenery that they've sort of harvested that's just growing wild or whatever. But they actually boil it, but then they just serve it with olive oil and lemon. Or maybe a bit of feta on the top. And it's kind of their side dish.
We saw that, didn't we, in the markets?
But it's like their side dish, that's what they do.
Oh, I forgot to say, actually, the cabbage,
you
know what, is one of our oldest known vegetables.
How old?
Over 4,000 years.
Wow.
And that's another reason why I wanted to kind of give it that shout out.
Because of the age.
Well, I just think
it's been around a long
I know a lot of the vegetables we always talk about, and I do a bit of research, and it says they've been around, and obviously they're not always been around looking like they look now.
No.
You can still buy wild cabbage. It won't look like some of the more hybrid cabbages, But they've all stemmed from somewhere. But of course, it was the good old Romans. And then I think, the Asians obviously took it on with some of their cabbages, like the Chinese leaf and all that kind of stuff.
And then we took it on and poured cheese on it.
Yeah, and apparently China is one of the largest producers of cabbage.
I'm not surprised.
No, but it's obviously, it grows.
Well, also it probably grows in abundance, but also it's probably a good way of feeding a lot of people.
Because in this country, of course, when you grow cabbage, you do have to protect it because the good old white butterfly and the old caterpillars.
Nets.
But they're lovely to see, and if you net them, I mean, you see the most beautiful.
Yeah.
We go to Westdean, don't we? And you go and see these most incredible. I just love them because it's in the middle of winter, and you'll get this beautiful cabbage or a form of cabbage. If it's the Carvalho Nero or the curly kale, they look amazing, don't they?
They do.
In the middle of winter.
And I just think, again, just the versatility and obviously affordability of it, especially at the moment, I think is really important for all of these things.
Yeah.
So
big shout out to
cabbage. Up the cabbage.
And a big shout out to our, artisanal cheese producers, actually.
Yeah. Get toasting. Roasting char.
Because it was really lovely, wasn't it? We did talk to a few.
Yeah.
We did talk to Hazel from Pevensey Cheese.
Yeah. No,
and,
lovely.
Really lovely. And just understanding a little bit more about them and how they're made and that actually the love and care that goes into them.
Well, I think that's a lot of things. We say that with food. I mean, we've said it before, but sometimes I want to do some baking, but I know I'm not in the right frame of mind. Yeah. So I think food, love and care does it come in. It does impact how your food comes out sometimes.
Yeah,
especially baking. I find it's never quite right if I'm not in the mood. But luckily, the cheesecake is, so we're fine. And then next time we're going to be talking about beef.
Yes, the end of this month is National British Beef Week. So we need to give a shout out to our local beef
farmers.
Beef producers and farmers, absolutely.
Yeah, everything cow.
I know, so we have to do a bit of research on everything cow. No, we have to think about more seasonal dishes, maybe.
I know, but no, we're looking forward to it, and hopefully we start to get into the barbecue season, and so we can do some recipes outdoors, or at least al fresco dining as well. Yeah. So Anyway, well, it's greying up now, so probably should close. But as always,
I was going to say we might be out of our casserole period, but maybe not. I don't know.
Just keep the Le Creuset ready.
I know.
But yeah, as always, we are on Instagram and TikTok at Relish Lifestyle. So please give us a follow and a like, and a review as well, whenever possible.
Yeah.
Well, that just leaves us to say,
keep relishing life.